Hi everyone, it's Lisa Wickman again, and today in this video, I am going to talk to you about everything there is for you to know about Minneapolis. Yes, we're talking about Minneapolis today, and you'll definitely want to stay tuned because I am going to bring up the map. I'm going to show you different neighborhoods. I'm going to show you the logistics of where everything is. So don't go away. We'll be diving right in. Where in the world is Minneapolis? A lot of people don't know. They've never heard of us. And some people might say, hey, I've heard Minneapolis is a great place to live. Where in the world is it? Well, here it is. It is smack dab in the middle of the country towards the north, towards Canada. So if you look closely, Wisconsin is on our east, Iowa to the south, North and South Dakota to the west, and of course Canada is above us. So we are kind of centrally located, a little further south than centrally located in Minnesota. But anyway, we're gonna go in. There's a few things that I want to talk to you about today. So this little area that I have outlined in red is actually Minneapolis. So a couple statistics I do want to talk to you about. Number one, we're talking about the Twin Cities. Now, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Twin Cities. If you're living outskirts in Minnesota, they call it the cities. I actually grew up in Minneapolis. I lived in Minneapolis until I was about 30 before I moved to a first-ring suburb. We'll be talking a little bit about first-ring suburbs. And just so you know, a couple different things. The population, I have my notes here, the population of Minneapolis, these numbers are according to the 2020 census. Minneapolis population is about 430,000 people. And then I want to show you just the outline of St. Paul right here, much smaller than Minneapolis. And that has a population of 311,000. Now, the other thing I want you to know, the Twin Cities area is actually 3.7 million people. So when we talk about the Twin Cities, we're really not just talking about Minneapolis and St. Paul. But I want to tell you a couple things. Now, Minneapolis is in Hennepin County. So this is the outline of Hennepin County. So we are obviously next to St. Paul. We're going over here. We go up along the river. We go in through Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park, Champlin, Rogers, Hanover, Greenfield. We head down to St. Bonifacius, Excelsior, part of Eden Prairie is part of Hennepin County, Bloomington, all the way over to the airport. So in Hennepin County, there are close to 1.3 million people. So very large county. Now, Ramsey County is about half that size. Ramsey County is actually about 552,000 people, and that takes up a little bit smaller space, but it includes New Brighton, Mounds View, White Bear Lake, North Oak, Shoreview, North St. Paul, Maplewood, Roseville, etc. So back to Minneapolis. I want to show you a little bit about Minneapolis, St. Paul, and how the roads work. So if you're coming from Wisconsin, you're going to be coming in the corridor 94, Highway 94. Highway 94 goes directly through downtown St. Paul, not downtown, basically through downtown St. Paul, right through the edge of downtown Minneapolis, and then it heads north here, and then it continues west that way. But anyway, this whole circle here is basically a 94 circle. So you can, on the outskirts of St. Paul, get on this corridor 694, which is going to take you just north of Minneapolis, St. Paul area. And we're going to do a little bit of a circle. It's 694, and then it actually comes down. I'm going to do this bigger. 694, then turns into 494, where you can do a circle here. Plymouth, Minnetonka, Eden Prairie, Bloomington, back over through South St. Paul, Woodbury, back to 94, again, the circle 694, 494. So that's kind of the Twin Cities, not the Twin Cities area. That's part of the Twin Cities area, but I just wanted to show you that. And here is 94, which is just the main corridor that goes through there. That was what I was talking about. It heads out towards the rural area of the Twin Cities. So going back to Minneapolis. Minneapolis is broken up into 4 different areas: North Minneapolis, South Minneapolis, Northeast Minneapolis, and Southeast Minneapolis. And what we're going to do, I'm going to kind of show you these different areas on the map so you're familiar with them. And the most important thing that I want you to take away from this conversation today is that it doesn't matter where you want to live. In terms of, I want to move to Minneapolis. What you need to do is you need to let us know exactly what it is you're looking for, because every single one of these areas, these 4 areas, are made up of multiple different neighborhoods, which all have their own vibe. They have their own energy, they have their own character. So I got to know what you want. You know, some of these properties or neighborhoods are super single family home owner occupied. Some of them are mixed with a lot of businesses and restaurants and bars. Some of them are busier, closer to industrial areas. You just need to let us know what it is you're looking for. But anyway, I want to talk about Southeast Minneapolis. Southeast Minneapolis is not actually located in Southeast Minneapolis. Southeast Minneapolis is located right here. Make you a little bigger. The reason it's called Southeast Minneapolis is because this street right here, East Hennepin Avenue, separates Northeast Minneapolis from Southeast Minneapolis. So it is south of East Hennepin. That's one of the reasons where the South come, and it is east of the Mississippi River. So this is Southeast Minneapolis. It consists of 4 neighborhoods. I'm not going to go through every neighborhood for every area of town, because like South Minneapolis is way, way bigger than the rest of the areas of town, but I will point out a few different ones. But again, I grew up here. I know these neighborhoods. If you have any questions, just give us a call or shoot us a text. But Marcy Homes is an area that is home to some very large turn of the century. You've got to remember Mill City. Remember, I should inform you, you shouldn't remember. Flour mills, Pillsbury, General Mills, all came from the Minneapolis area. We are considered Mill City because of the flour mills here. So there are a lot of older homes, pre-1900s homes. We still call them turn of the century, even though it was the turn of the last century. The main thing about Southeast Minneapolis, which I didn't mention yet, is it is home to the University of Minnesota, which between students and staff total over 80,000 people. So what you're going to find a lot in Southeast Minneapolis is college students, grad students, doctorate students, huge research hospital, a lot of faculty, and a lot of staff. So you're going to find mix of rentals and a lot of mix of houses. Como is a lot of student rentals, a lot of properties that aren't homeowner occupied. There will be a lot of very large homes that may be turned into rentals where they're renting by the room, etc. Dinkytown is kind of the heart of the East Bank. It has a lot of restaurants and bars. The other area of Southeast Minneapolis is down here where the Stone Arch Bridge is. Beautiful bridge. It's under construction for 2 years. It closed in February. But down here you have River Place and St. Anthony, Maine, which has a lot of restaurants, bars. The median to average home price in the Southeast Minneapolis area is between $325 and $350. Now, down here, we're always talking about the Stone Arch Bridge. There's a lot of newer condos along the river here. So you can pay $1 million. You can pay $2 million for just some amazing newer condos. So this is actually what I wanted to show you. So this is St. Anthony, Maine. River Place. It's River Place and then St. Anthony, Maine, but this has been around for so long. These are original cobblestone streets. When they tore some of these places out or these streets out, I know people who actually used to go take the cobblestones and stuff and put them in their gardens. But anyway, this is right next to the river. These are all new condominiums. I want to go back to the street. So this is River Place. Like I said, there are some very cute restaurants here. And as we go a little further down, There's actually a movie theater. And then we're going to continue down. Nice outdoor seating areas for restaurant. That's Astor Cafe. This used to be a restaurant that I used to work at, believe it or not, back in the 1980s. There's entertainment often here. And these are all new condos. Some of these have been turned into condos. As we head down the river area, these are all condos. Okay, and what I wanted to get to is the Stone Arch Bridge. This is the Stone Arch Bridge. This is a pedestrian and bicycle only bridge. It won't let me go. You can't really see it, but it is a bicycle only bridge, and it links to downtown Minneapolis. So you can live here and have views of downtown Minneapolis and pay a lot of money. Okay, so back to Minneapolis. So that's a little bit about Southeast Minneapolis. Now, I want to show you something kind of iconic about Southeast Minneapolis and Dinkytown. So this is Dinkytown. It's a very cute little area, but one of the iconic things about Dinkytown is Al's Breakfast. I want to zoom out. It's not going to let me because I want to take you into Al's Breakfast. It's just this little dive that's been around forever, and they would never sell their property. So here sits Al. They probably have about 15 stools, and that's it. Little kitchen back there. Look at all these people come here and line up because it's just so iconic. So if you're touring, if you've got students coming, or if you're hanging out in Southeast Minneapolis, I suggest you go there. One other place I wanted to show you as I zoom past towards the University of Minnesota is Annie's Parlor. Annie's Parlor, well, and there's the Kitty Cat Club, which is new, but Annie's Parlor has been there since I went to the University of Minnesota back in the 1980s. And it has the best hamburgers and the best malts, just like Al's Breakfast has the best breakfast. So next part of Minneapolis we're going to talk about is Northeast Minneapolis. I have more notes. So we're going to zoom in a little bit. Northeast Minneapolis goes along 37th here, just north of Waite Park. North Minneapolis and Northeast Minneapolis are separated by the Mississippi River. It's always going to pull up these fabulous restaurants and so forth. But anyway, so basically, Northeast Minneapolis runs through here. It goes just north of the Como neighborhood across East Hennepin and then back up the river. So a couple of things about Northeast Minneapolis. They're notoriously known for dive bars, great music, great breweries, great restaurants. They're also known for, riverview patios along the river here. They're building condominiums there along the river. So there's some new construction there. There's also an arts district. I want to zoom in a little bit. Minneapolis Northeast Arts District, where you will find artist studios open and some galleries open. They're kind of spotty in this area, but definitely worth a peek. Another thing that you'll find when you are in Northeast Minneapolis is there are so many churches. There are probably as many churches as there are bars, like happens in a lot of towns. But anyway, there are. And I want to take you through a couple of these neighborhoods. Waite Park, Audubon Park, Wyndham Park, Beltrami, St. Anthony East, the Arts District, Columbia Park, Marshall Terrace. So again, each one of these has their own dynamic. I kind of want to take you to Waite Park. Waite Park is a very nice area full of single family homes, more than like the Arts District, where you're going to find a lot of restaurants and a lot of commercial buildings. This is more family oriented. So let's just kind of take a peek at just going down a street in Northeast Minneapolis. This is no one in particular. This is Ulysses. Someone's not mowing their lawn, but for the most part, you're going to find that properties are very well taken care of. You can't go anywhere without being in the neighborhood of a ballpark or just a park in general. But as you can see, just your average homes, speaking of average home price, median and average range around 350. However, there is actually a new construction home right now that's active for 700,000. And there's also one, the highest sale in the last 6 months was 600. So just because the median and averages are around 350 doesn't mean that's what you're gonna pay. And no matter where you are in Minneapolis, the trees are plentiful. They're just plentiful because these homes are very well established. So look, you can see, different looks in different neighborhoods. New little roundabout. This is a school we're going by. Now we are going to talk about North Minneapolis. North Minneapolis is a very large and very eclectic, as well as is Northeast Minneapolis. So let's zoom in a little bit. And like I said, they all have, or every area has their own personality in all of these different neighborhoods. And you also have a variation of home ownership prices. So I want to just talk about the Shingle Creek, Falwell, Jordan, Willard Hay, Hawthorne, Victory, etc. So this is basically the river, again, like I said, separates Northeast Minneapolis from South Minneapolis. And it goes basically down to kind of the edge of downtown and this area right through Bryn Mawr. And this is all considered North Minneapolis. So what do you want you to know about North Minneapolis? Median and average are around 230 to 239. You can get fixer-upper homes in North Minneapolis for as low as $150,000. We're talking fixer-uppers though, folks. We're not talking about move-in ready. Ooh, this is a nice house. We can get it for $100,000 or $150,000. That's not gonna happen. Now, when we talk about medians, right, there's always outliers. So for example, there is an 8-bedroom home available right now in the Victory neighborhood that is for sale for $650,000. 8-bedroom, 4-bath. There's also one in Willard Hay down here that is pending at $515,000. So again, the fact of the matter that the average price and median price are in the low 200,000s doesn't mean that's what you're going to pay. One of the nice things about North Minneapolis is it is on this parkway, Victory Memorial Parkway. I want to show you. And then it runs into Theodore Wirth Parkway. Now, technically, Theodore Wirth Regional Park is in Golden Valley, but part of it down here is in Minneapolis. The Eloise Butler Wildflower Garden and Sanctuary, Bird Sanctuary, is in Minneapolis. But Theodore Wirth Golf Course and all of this is managed by the Minneapolis Park Board. So what is cool about this? I want to show you Theodore Wirth. This parkway is super cool. There are so many things that you can do here in this park. Look at this, archery. They've got a beach. There's a biking path, ski trails. We don't care so much about the decorative fountain, but disc golf course, they have drinking fountains as well. Anyway, you can see they have a lot of things here that you can do. I also want to see if I can actually find a photo of it. So what's cool is this parkway, I tell you, runs through the whole entire city, but this is Theodore Wirth Parkway, where again, this is part of Theodore Wirth Park. Little cantina here, beautiful golf course on your right, beautiful clubhouse there. If we head straight, there are some gorgeous homes. Okay, and there's some just gorgeous homes along this park, even though it's not on the parkway, but look at these beautiful homes, just stunningly beautiful. Now, these obviously are not going to be selling for $250,000. They're going to be more in the 400,000, 350, 400, etc. So now we are back at Minneapolis, and we're going to talk about South Minneapolis and all of that, that encompasses. So here along this 394 corridor, we're going to go in through downtown Minneapolis, is included in South Minneapolis. And then if I can get rid of that, and then it comes all the way along the river down through the airport and on the edge of Richfield and the edge of Edina and the edge of St. Louis Park. Since I'm mentioning these, let's talk about the first ring suburbs. First ring suburbs of Minneapolis, basically Fridley, here, Columbia Heights, I should say Columbia Heights, Brooklyn Center, Robbinsdale, Golden Valley, St. Louis Park, Edina, and Richfield. Those are the first ring suburbs of Minneapolis. So second ring suburbs, Brooklyn Park, New Hope, Medicine Lake, Plymouth, Hopkins, Eden Prairie, Bloomington. And then if you, oh, did I miss Maple Grove? I missed Maple Grove. And then if you go up further, you get into things like the Lake Minnetonka area, Corcoran, Medina to the south, Shakopee, Savage, and Lakeville, Farmington down that way. Okay, so back to South Minneapolis. So as I was saying, 94, you go through 94. 35W is actually a main drag, and there's East Minneapolis, West Minneapolis. So actually Nicollet Avenue, which is right here, separates East from West Minneapolis. Although we don't call it East Minneapolis, we just call it South Minneapolis. And we don't call it Southeast because we call it this Southeast. This is just East 31st Street, and the avenues in South Minneapolis run north and south. Streets run east and west. I can tell you we start at Crosstown here at 62. That would basically be like 62nd Street. So as you're going north, you count down, 54th Street, 42nd Street, 36th Street down to 1st, and then it starts going north. Okay, so one of the very cool things about Minneapolis is the lakes. There are so many lakes in Minneapolis. We have Lake Hiawatha, Lake Nokomis, Lake Harriet, Bottomakaska, Lake of the Isles, and Cedar Lake Beach. Theodore Wirth was in North Minneapolis. What's really cool about Minneapolis is, I'm going to do my best to do this, is the Minnehaha Falls. So the Mississippi, again, separates Minneapolis from St. Paul. This is the St. Paul area. And the creek, Minnehaha Creek, starts at Minnehaha Falls, which is just a beautiful park, beautiful place to visit. And then what comes out of Minnehaha Falls is this creek. This creek, now we're going this way, we're flowing up creek, not down creek. I used to creek this as a child. I used to canoe this as a child and as a young adult. Lake Hiawatha, as I said, Lake Nokomis, but the creek goes here. It goes into Lake Nokomis. It continues and it goes. This is Diamond Lake. That is not a swimmable lake. These others are. And it goes into Lake Harriet. Now, how cool is that? It continues then and actually goes into Lake Minnetonka way out in the west. But then, as I pan out a little bit, we get to Lake Harriet, or we get to Bottomakaska, excuse me, which then is connected to Lake of the Isles, which then is connected to Cedar Lake, and then this is Brownie Lake. Brownie Lake is not a swimming lake either. Cedar Lake has some beaches, Lake of the Isles does not. Bottomakaska does not have, or has beaches, so does Lake Harriet, so does Lake Nokomis, and so does Lake Hiawatha. So that's a really cool thing about that. So I did want to show you, I grew up over near Lake Nokomis. It was a great place to grow up. One thing though is look at how close it is to the airport. Airplane noise constantly. So almost anywhere that you are, honestly, in this path, you are going to hear airplane noise without a doubt. If that is an issue for you, again, it's another reason to reach out to us because we know where, I know where it is because I grew up with all of this stuff. All right, let's talk about average price range. The average price point in Minneapolis, in South Minneapolis, in this area that I included or shown you, including downtown Minneapolis, the average price point is $451. The median price point is $360. Again, if you're going to be living on or near the lake, you're going to be paying a lot more money than if you're in the inner city, for example. I wanted to kind of give you an example of, a fixer-upper home you can get into in South Minneapolis for about $200,000 or over. Every once in a while, you'll get something under, but believe me, these are fixer-up homes. However, I did find right now on the market, there's a property coming soon in a neighborhood in South Minneapolis in the Howe neighborhood. Here it is. It is a 1-bedroom, 2-bath, teeny tiny house, 692 square feet on the main floor. It has a bedroom upstairs and a little bit of room in the basement for $260,000. So 1 bedroom, not a lot of those around. Believe me, when this goes on the market in a couple days, it's going to go quick. Let me show you where this property is. This is in the Howe neighborhood. So in the Howe neighborhood, we'll get Howe back, close to the river. First time home buyer neighborhood, you can get in for $260,000 for a 1 bedroom. This is on Lake Harriet, and this is $5 million. So let's look where this is. So we are on one of these lakes. One of the things I wanted to show you about the lakes is if you zoom in here, all these homes, none of these homes are on the lake. None of these homes are on the lake. This is Lake Nokomis. They're all across the street, across the parkway. If I zoom out and we go to Lake Harriet, you're going to see the exact same thing. All the houses where there are homes are across the street. There's nothing on the lake. Lake Harriet, there's nothing on the lake. If you look at, this is Bottomakaska, there's nothing on the lake. It's across the street from the parkway. So if you have any questions, you've got to reach out to us because, like I said, I think you could probably see from this, I know the area, I know it well, and whatever your family situation is, I can help you. So please reach out when you have an opportunity. You've got the number. Take care.